Okay, hi everybody. I'm hoping to do something non-COVID related, but I thought I'd just highlight this for you. I thank UK Column for the heads up on this one because they had this featured on their show. So what you're looking at right here is a map that's published by a European-backed website called EUROMOM.com. I'll just spell that for you. It's Euro, E-U-R-O-M-O-M .eu. They publish this for every week of the year, and we're going to look at it going back a few years. So the countries that are in white have no data. What it signifies by the countries in that pale blue is that there were no excess deaths. And what it highlights there for Italy is high, 5.7, so above excess deaths. So this is week 12 of 2020. So that's covering the period when COVID's really bad. And as you can see for this website, they are showing that there are no excess deaths in the United Kingdom, France, Spain, Portugal. You can see there Switzerland, Austria, I think that's Hungary, the Netherlands, obviously all the Scandi countries, and Holland, and also Greece. The rest of the countries not reporting. Rather interesting, isn't it, that the European Union website, who tracks excess death, seems to think that in this particular event, when we hit so hard by COVID, that there are no excess deaths. So let's see what it says for years gone by. So let's have a look at week 4, 2020. Now, funnily enough, in week 4, end of January, we hadn't really heard of many excess deaths in Spain. But there you find Spain in the dark blue saying very high in terms of excess deaths. Portugal high, and the rest of the countries, light blue, no excess deaths. Let's go a little bit further back and see what we see. There in week 7 of 2019, so we're going back to around the end of February 2019, we have for France very high, higher than expected deaths. We have above expected for Spain, high for Portugal, above expected for Italy, Sweden, Switzerland and Austria, and same as usual for places like the UK, Holland, Belgium, and the other Scandinavian countries. Rather interesting, isn't it? So when the picture in week 7, 2019, shows quite a high rate of above average deaths for France, and yet no COVID back then. Let's have a look at week 3, 2019, and there you see they've got very high above average deaths, the dark blue representing Spain and Portugal. Interesting, isn't it? Go a little bit further back to week 10, 2018, so week 10 we're going into March 2018, and there you have for France, Belgium and Holland very high above average expected deaths. Sweden high, and for Norway, for Spain, for Hungary and for Switzerland above average expected deaths. You can see that the UK is not reporting, but Ireland and Scotland showing the average, along with Italy, Greece and Finland showing average. So what was going on then? Let's look at week 2, second week of January for 2018, and you see very high above average deaths in the UK, Spain and Portugal. High in France and Italy and Northern Ireland, and above expected in certain other places like Ireland and Wales, other countries with the light blue showing average. So again, when you compare these all to the picture being generated now, rather odd, isn't it? Let's look at week 2. Second week of January 2017, and there we have Spain, Portugal, France, Italy, Switzerland, Greece, all with very high above average deaths. We have the UK for high, also Norway and Finland for high, Sweden and Ireland showing above average, Greece there also high. So who remembers the pandemic of January 2017? Well, I don't remember it, but there you go. According to their stats, there was one. Very interesting, isn't it? So are we in a crisis? Are we having a pandemic? Not according to EUROMOM, who says that the rates at the moment, which you could see in our very first picture up here, everywhere basically in light blue apart from Italy in week 12 of 2020. Nothing to see here. Next thing I'd like to look at, what I saw on Twitter. There you go. That's Flushing Meadow. All tennis fans will recognize that immediately. It's where they hold the US Open. They've now got a 350-bed hospital facility opening up there. Why there? And we hear also at Wembley they might turn it into a hospital. Aren't there enough conference centres, empty hotels, empty buildings that they can do it? Why do they choose somewhere like that? What's the messaging? There's something rather macabre about choosing a place like Wembley Arena or Flushing Meadow, a place people usually go to have a great time, to enjoy themselves, where you watch people at the peak of their physical fitness, where you're watching sportsmen who are super fit, super healthy. Why now associate that place, which we all associate with something positive and fun, with something desperate, dire, death? Why are they doing that? I just think it's a very strange messaging. There must be some kind of psyop going on there. Maybe I'm reading too much into it, but why are they choosing places like that? It just seems to me rather odd. Next, this was rather interesting. When I said looting, I didn't expect them to loot a Van Gogh, but there you go. A Dutch museum says that a painting by Vincent van Gogh was stolen in a raid overnight. Interesting stuff. A couple of other things I just wanted to cover, and the first is, it was very, very sad to read on Sky News of the first family suicide. They said it was a murder. The parents, 2 children and a dog, found murdered, but no one else is being sought in connection with the crime. Says to me it's the first family suicide. That is a byproduct, a side effect of this lockdown and the severe economic stress they are putting on people, and something I have worried about as well. Then the German finance minister from the Hesse region of Germany, which includes Frankfurt, jumped in front of a train. Apparently, either suicides or institutionalization for mental health reasons of finance ministers is quite common when there's a dire economic picture on the horizon. This has been noted in Japan, and it's apparently people have studied it, that when you see health ministers going into asylums or committing suicide, you know there's big problems dawning with the economy. Now, what I'm interested in is, it's in The Guardian, the overreach of police. Is government policy now law? Do the police really have powers to be kind of arresting people? In some cases, they're talking of police fining people. Police do not have the authority to fine people. They can issue kind of fixed penalty notices, but they can't fine people. But it seems that the police don't really understand what their own powers are, and we see an overreach. You know, with common purpose, which we know infests the police, they say acting beyond your authority. That seems to be happening. What I'm particularly irked about, if this cuts out, there'll be a part 2, don't worry, because I only get 10 minutes on this particular format. But what irks me is planes are still flying in from hotspots like China, Iran. I'm not sure how much they're flying in from Spain or Italy, but I do feel the planes still flying in. People are working in takeaways. I don't know how much social distancing is happening in all the restaurants, pubs that have turned themselves into takeaways, and yet that's being allowed to go on. And we have people piling onto the tubes, cramming themselves together in tubes and on platforms. Yet the police are stopping people from walking around beauty spots. They're sending drones to take pictures of people who might park and then go and walk in the Peak District. That's silly. Why do that? I do not see that those people are a threat with social distancing. The people piling onto tubes, that shouldn't be happening. There should be more tubes put on. Supermarkets have closed a much smaller window when they are open. They're only opening, like Sainsbury's, 8 till 8. Tesco usually 24 hours, now only opening from 8 till 10. So that's piling people in. So I just think it's incongruous to be punishing some people for maybe taking an extra journey or driving around to relieve boredom. That's not at the risk of spreading. So I just think the police are overusing their powers, stepping out of their authority. So I think I'm going to end there. That's mainly what I want to cover. And then I'm just going to do a little podcast just now on experts and should we be listening to them. Thanks, guys. Hope you enjoyed these pictures. And I just thought I really wanted to share them with you because it just adds to the picture. I'm really beginning to get a little bit suspicious of this whole thing. The media are weighing in all sorts of really nefarious ways. And we are, like I say, we're having our dose of communism. Will these measures ever be relaxed, and will any laws brought in be repealed once this is over? We wonder.